UK.
I'm
Yours?
I'm just outside London, so not in London, but just outside. But yeah, anyway, enough about me. It's all about you guys today. So hello and welcome to the Q&A for Girl in Golden Gate Park. I'm Katie McCullough from Festival Formula, and I'll be hosting some of the creative team to talk about their feature, which is screening as part of San Francisco Independent Film Festival. So welcome one and all. If you could introduce yourself and what your role was in the film, that would be fantastic. So I'm going to start with the way that you are on my screen. So Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin Mayling Stewart. I'm a Bay Area-based actor and theater person, and I played Joni in the film.
Perfect. And JP.
I'm JP Allen. I'm the writer-director.
Fantastic. And who's with you, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is
our producer.
We're in the same. I was waiting for her to do it.
We got to have JP and Kathy on the name.
yeah. Kathy, introduce yourself.
I'm Kathy Montos, and I was the producer on the film.
Fantastic. And Alison, you're next on my screen.
I'm Alison Ewing, and I was Chris Moore.
Fantastic. And last but by no means least, Kim.
Hello, I'm Kim Jang Debanowitz. I play Jean.
Fantastic. Lovely to meet you all. I was just saying earlier that a lot of my Q&As have been with just the director, but it's actually quite nice to have a full room because it's like it would be in real life. So thank you for making a little bit of normalcy in my evening today. So let's talk about the film. So for me, I was just explaining, I've not been to San Francisco. And I feel like this is a complete and utter love letter to San Francisco in its own kind of way. Having that connection to a place through memory and belonging and the defiance of standing up for what you believe in, and especially with gentrification as well as part of your narrative. And of course, you also touch on homelessness and different guises too, and how easy it is to fall into those circumstances. And I kind of like the fact that you had this melee of narratives kind of bubbling underneath, but you also had that kind of present on screen, just, visually, but also emotionally. And I read that this is the final installment of an indie noir trilogy. So, and I will say the title is reminiscent of that style too, because it instantly made me think of The Girl with the Golden Gun, which, there is a girl with a gun in this. So JP, I wanted to ask, what was the genesis for this installment of the trilogy? And does having a larger project like this change the way you approach it to a usual standalone piece?
Well, the genesis of it is a lot of what you just mentioned, is the idea of the importance of home. And as we see a lot of the city changing over the last few years, that becomes just a really important issue for a lot of us. And so also we have some close friends who've experienced it directly, who've been evicted from their home. And that was part of the inspiration for the piece. And also just literally outside our window, we've observed people living in their cars under difficult conditions. So sort of watched all of that and thought of how to find some way to embody it, and began writing the story about it, and sort of finding a way to embody the idea of holding on to what we love and who we are. So
Definitely,
that's where it started.
definitely.
Now, as far as what was the second part of the question? I'm sorry about.
In terms of it being part of a trilogy, does that change the way that you approach this project, or were you treating it kind of like as a standalone? It's just part of a body of work.
Well, it's a standalone piece, really, but the other two pieces do influence it in the sense that we're just looking at different ways to go about a kind of type of noir film. So the previous film, Centaur, had a different way of, the first noir trilogy had a different way of going about it. The next one, the filmmaker, had another way of going about it. And then finally this one, probably the most, I don't know. It was the most gentle, really, kind of a lot of love in this piece. For me, I mean, that's up to the audience to decide, but that's how we view it.
Well, I will say it's been extremely refreshing to see a female-led cast and not have it riddled with stereotypes. So thank you. And also the the three of you, Erin, Alison, Kim, you were really, really kind of fascinating to watch, because I think all of your characters had this strength, this kind of, that front, but also that kind of softness, which was once you chipped away. And I think sometimes that's really hard to actually translate on screen, because it can come across as really, really on the nose and really kind of, melodramatic. So I was wondering if you could tell me a bit about the casting process, what kind of lured you to this project, and, what did you find different, kind of having these characters to play around with? And I can pick on you if you want. Yeah, okay, right, Alison.
Oh, great. I should have just volunteered and looked cooler. So this is a really amazing story for me personally, because I actually auditioned for another part. I auditioned for the role of Joni first, and I think I got called back for that, and didn't get the part. And that was and then months later, a few months later maybe, they reached back out to me to come back in for Miss Moore, which is such a treat as an actor, to be thought of again. And I had such an amazing experience reading with Kim too. And so then I went back for that, and then got the part, and it was just thrilling. And it was really fun and complicated. Obviously, Ms. Moore's character and I was drawn to all of the pieces, and there was a lot underneath that we discovered and talked about that maybe doesn't show up in the film, but that I think was rippling underneath her, and that has everything to do with JP and Kathy and that process. And it was just a lot of fun, and being on set with them was just, it was a family. There was a small, really intimate crew and cast, and it was a lot of fun. Did I think I just talked too much already?
No, never. Kim, how about yourself?
Well, for me, it was it was really truly love at first sight. When I first read when they sent me the sides, it was like 6 or 7 pages, and I read it and I was like, shit, this is fucking awesome. Like the role of Jean, I just knew I was like in love with the character, like just from the first read. And then when I went into the audition, I was just, I immediately felt like it was so easy to work with JP and Kathy, and I just felt immediately comfortable, and I was just like, oh God, I really hope this works, because I mean, first of all, I already loved the part, and then it was so easy, and every time I came back to audition, it was just fun and like effortless, and I was just like, I hope this works, and I kind of just knew, and so yeah, it worked out great, and then when Erin came in, it was just it's one of those things where you just kind of knew when she read her first like your first reading, and I was just like, oh yeah, she's the one. And I was like, I bet she's gonna be the one. And anyway, but yeah, it was a really fun process auditioning and shooting the film. It was just a blast, really.
Amazing. And Erin, how about your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't realize at first when I found out about the movie from somebody actually in a class I was taking, that I know a few people who had worked with JP and Kathy before. So I did a little like, how was it? And the feedback was like, oh, they're so wonderful, and like, it's great, and you have to do it. So that was encouraging. And I actually am much more of a theater actor at this point, so I haven't done a ton of film work. So a lot of my experience was about like adjusting to on-camera work, I think. But and it was interesting in the audition process, I think, because the sides, the scenes were a little bit mysterious. Like they were from early in the film, so you don't really know where things are going or who this person is, but that actually seemed sort of appropriate to the film, which I think has this kind of sense of mystery, and like things kind of unfold in a little bit of a leisurely way. So yeah, I think just making some choices about what might be going on underneath a scene where I'm not totally sure what's going on was part of it. And I think
I was
for
going
who
to say,
the
that's a clever
character
ploy.
Joni is.
Yeah, a clever ploy to kind of give your actors for the audition like parts which you can take and read so many different ways and just see
Mhm.
what they play around with. And it is actually, it's quite exciting to hear kind of actors talk about going for an audition and really wanting it and then getting it, because you normally hear it the other way round. So
I just also want
Tra-
to. I would also
go-
quickly. I want to quickly mention that I think Kathy or JP had originally written the role of, was it Joni as a man or Allison's role as a man, or was just a, I don't remember.
Well, we were very gender fluid with this piece. You know, but I will say, give a lot of credit to Kathy.
Kathy, yeah, Kathy was
The
like,
original version, you know, she just made some suggestions about dealing with the gender and how it influenced the piece, and it was extremely important. And she made a lot of critical contributions to the script in that respect and in other respects. So
yeah, she was I think the force in making it the three women leads in the film, and I really appreciate
Thank
that,
you.
Kathy.
Well, just belong there. I saw the
And-
characters as women. not
Yeah,
men.
and also
Yeah.
it's, to me as a viewer, it's way more interesting to
Yeah.
see the women and our relationship, me and Jean and Joni. And
it definitely adds another dynamic, because you could I suppose say, like, by having Miss Moore as, you know, male, you kind of have that kind of slight complexity of, you know, a lesbian relationship and therefore kind of dalliance with another kind of gender, which could ramp that up. But I actually think there's more tension because it is three female characters, that it's almost kind of, it cuts more deeper, because, you know, that kind of ultimate kind of sacrifice and that kind of ultimate betrayal. But I'm just wondering, so going back to Kathy and JP, when you were auditioning this, kind of, you know, did you have anything in mind, or were you completely like, let's just run with it and see what happens? Or, you know, how does your audition process work? Do you have like a process, or do you have like a, here are the sides, let's just see what happens?
I'll let Kathy talk a little bit. She hasn't really spoken to it yet.
Well, I think that we call people in and we see how they fit within the role. I don't think we had anything completely in mind. We knew it had to be a strong person. You know, that they'd be able to have to show up, and it has to do with how they show up on the screen. And just, did it seem authentic? Did we see them as that person? And it's funny because it was very clear when the person came in that they were the person for the role. You know what I mean? It was like they just fit. Except for Allison, you know, we could see her in the role of Joni, but I also really saw her in the role of Miss Moore. You know, so she was great in both of them. So, and of course, Erin, we saw her, and Kim, you know, yeah, she was good.
There's you know, there's some backstories there, definitely, because there's a lot of debate and stuff. But back to your main question, we're just really looking for the best actor for the part. That's the main thing. We don't care about, we're not concerned with type, or a lot of times, as you can see, we're discussing how everything can be fluid for us. It's just a matter of what the best actor is for the part. And these, you know, each of these actors pretty much did a great job.
Oh,
and we're
yeah.
very
And
excited.
that's why I love working with you guys. Sorry. It's that JP and Kathy is just really a testament of how you view the world. Like, you don't, you know, place boundaries on how you cast things. And I love that. That's what I really loved about what you guys did.
You also fight for the actor too. I've never been in a more collaborative audition in my life. I mean, it was almost like we were working with a stage director and we were playing, and we were doing, you know, deeper scenes, and he would just work. Both of them were giving creative ideas and just being with you and for you. And and there are multiple different ways to do the scene, and in a collaboration from the get-go. And so it feels like
they're rooting for you, like every step of the way. They're rooting for you, and
really we know casting directors are. They want, you know, they want you to do well, but it was a partnership, like from jump, and that makes it super special too, and makes you want to work with them. Always.
And we got to
forever.
And speaking of partnership, I've got to mention 3 of our partners that are not here with us right now.
Please go ahead.
Got to mention Dan Teixeira Gomez, our director of photography. We love his work. Robert Alvin, our director of lighting. and John Dole, who did the score for the piece. So thank you to those fantastic partners.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, we love them.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed the music, and again, very heavily female led. And I'm a massive sucker for kind of music that's within a film, like, you know, kind of existing music rather than kind of orchestral scores, because I think it says a lot about characters by, you know, not even saying anything, just that tone, the lyrics, the kind of mood. So I wanted to ask you all, in your creative processes, whether it be director, writer, editor, actor, are you someone who uses music as a background tool for your role, or is that something that you just kind of don't lean into, you just leave it till later? Because I'm just always intrigued how it filters in. Like, do you have that music planned? Is it something that you kind of go, my character would definitely listen to this? What's all your responses to that?
Miss Moore, there was no fun in her life. So
Static, like white noise.
you know, imagine her, you know, alone, even with maybe the TV muted. And so I didn't use that at all. I have in a couple other roles that were very specific, but it's not something that's of me and in me. You know, for every role, I don't have a musical support system, but it's very inspiring now that you said it, and feeling the music in the film too. It really does speak a lot to it. And I'm gonna think on that. Yeah.
Definitely.
I have occasionally had like a soundtrack for a project that I'll put together, but I didn't really do it for this one. I felt in a way that Joni, the character, there's something very like visual. We spend time in her apartment, which looks a certain way, and the way she dresses, like this use of color and things. Like, I think she feels like this sort of like lonely, detached person, but then there's all of this kind of color and aesthetics and things. So I think more it was like visual aesthetic informed who she was more than music for this piece. Yeah,
I kind of feel like Joni's a magpie. Like, she's kind of
totally
like all these shiny bits, this kind of trinkets, and, you know,
yeah,
color, definitely. So
she's
Kim, how
holding on to things.
yeah,
I have to admit that I listened to a lot of cheesy love songs from the 80s when we did our our romance scenes. I was like, that was like, I had to get in there.
So sweet.
Yeah, it's so okay.
I've just got like Pat Benatar in my head now, like just kind of, you know, really.
Well, that's not cheesy, but some real cheesy shit. Sorry, stuff.
I mean,
it helped.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, and how about from a writing perspective, JP? Is that something that you listen? Do you have to have something on in the background, or are you someone that's like, no, I need to focus on, you know, creating this world silently?
It's more about the characters when I'm writing, but the music, you're right on that was extremely important, and we definitely chose both. It has two tracks. There's the standalone songs that are, and we deliberately, of course, are seeking independent female singer-songwriters for this. There's 7 of them in there, and we've really worked hard to find them. We're very proud of them, and we felt that really fit the tenor of the piece. But then there's also the score that John Dole wrote, which is sort of the subtle stuff that goes around those songs and some of the scenes that was also very important. So it was more in the editing process where we're really looking for that. But it was important about the voices. We knew that they were going to need to be voices that sort of reflected and enhanced the characters in the piece.
Definitely, and it so shows. And I think it's such a it's a very exposing moment when you have a character listen to a song with lyrics, because it can't really contradict what they're doing. It's got to be something that kind of runs alongside in parallel. And I just thought, you know, especially, you know, anyone who's in a car knows that there is always music. It's either the radio or you're purposely putting something on. So to have, you know, a character rooted to a space that is a car, you kind of always knew that there was going to be something there. So when it did play, it really, really did kind of translate brilliantly. I'm now going to ask you all quite a tricky, well, it might not be tricky, but I'm going to spring it on you. What is your favorite moment in the film?
It's like impossible.
I'll start. I mean,
Go for it,
sorry. it is impossible. But it's just the one thing stuck to me is when we did, I don't know if was that in the film. Yes, it is. Lake Tahoe and the ducks like coming in, following Jean into the lake, like that timing, just incredible.
And that was, we had to audition that duck.
I know.
The ducks
They
were
perfect
amazing.
for the role. Yeah.
I have mine too, and it's not a
Not
dialogue
many.
scene, so I don't, but it was just a really moving scene when Jean came into that outdoor space and threw the red ball against the wall, and then put the glasses on, and her younger self came to visit, and the waterfall along over the wall, like that was like an emotional moment for me in the film. And it's so fun as an actor to take yourself completely away. I told them when I watched it, I was just a viewer. I was just in this world, and so that was like I felt emotional in that scene. I thought it was a beautiful shot. Yeah.
Definitely. And I always thought it's quite interesting to put the camera where you did in that scene as well, like that kind of back corner to take in that expansive space. I thought it was quite interesting. Erin, JP, Tracy, favorite moments?
I think I've got a couple that one is really visual of just like this pond at Golden Gate Park and a scene where we're just kind of like coming together. There's been this like and then it's like this easing sort of, and it's shot from a distance. And I think it's partially the memory of being there very early in the morning, and just it's like park magic, so like in a way that I've lived here for 25 years and I just had never seen that spot, particularly not at that time of day because I never got up at 5:30. But that, like just that, like the park and our little, and we're so tiny within it. I think I loved, and I'm also really loved the way that one of the kind of like sexy romantic scenes came out that has no dialogue, and it's like a little bit abstracted. And I think that I remember JB talking about what we were aiming for, but it was, we had to shoot it in a kind of a disjointed way, like piece by piece, and it was so lovely to see like the way that those moments unfolded. And I have maybe because I have a movement dance background also, I was like, oh.
I was gonna say it was like an homage to you because it felt like a dance, and you're a dancing queen.
And yeah, it really helped me through. Erin helped me through those dance scenes because I was very intimidated by it. I don't have a dance background, and she's like a professional, and she's like, just focus on the acting. Don't worry about the movements, and really guided me through it. So thank goodness you were there for your help.
So JP, Tracy, favorite moments?
Kathy,
It's
actually.
Kathy.
Oh, Kathy, sorry, Tracy.
Oh no.
You go ahead.
Well, I would say the one scene that I really like is when there's a homeless person on the sidewalk, and then Jean comes and gives a candy bar, because it kind of shows the hierarchy of homelessness.
Yes.
Like she felt bad for this person, but she was a homeless person living in her car. So, but so I thought I liked that moment in it, and I liked it when Erin and Kim or Jean and Joni were running together.
Right.
I love that scene. That was so fun.
I thought it was funny.
And I edited it, so I've seen it thousands of times, literally. So I go in and out of what I like. But the one that always, the scene where the little girl is revealed, right after the first scene between the two main characters, is a big moment for me because it opens up the piece to a more of a magical realism piece, which is what I intended. So
definitely. I mean, mine is less of a moment but an observation, and it's Joni's color of coat. And big color fan here, as you may have gathered. So starting off as the blue and that kind of cold, tepid, and then traction growing for Jean, so it's blossoming into red. And I don't know if maybe this is just my bad eyes, but I swear she did wear a purple coat. Am I correct? Yes, right. So she's when she's implicated into Jean's plans, it becomes this sudden mixture of awkwardness, like I'm not too sure where my affiliations lie. And I thought it was just a really nice touch because, as we've already said, like Erin is a magpie, as in the film, like, that she is kind of picking up these trinkets and kind of looking for that color. But that was kind of, again, not a moment, but it was a nice nuance that I really liked in the film.
Well, thank you for noticing that too, because we thought a lot about those.
Yeah.
No kidding.
That's what I'm here for. What do you want people to feel after having watched the film? And this, for me, I really enjoy being able to ask different creatives this, because of course you are all of you coming from it in a very different perspective in terms of in front of screen, behind screen. But what do you want people to feel after having watched the film, like that overriding sensation?
Do you want everybody to answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna Kim.
Oh, I just I think it's, for me, with playing the role of Jean, I mean, she's just somebody who wants to feel better, and it's like she felt, like her power was taken away, and then she, in any way, shape, or form, I need to gain back some of that power, and and it might not be something that's societally appropriate to do, but I need to have that power in some way, even if it's the wrong thing, so it's like it's a hopeful, I think there's a hope to that, and I think well, and obviously it's a love letter to San Francisco because every shot's beautiful. But yeah, I hope that that maybe people would feel like it's okay to not anyway, you have to feel better. It's like it's okay to burn down houses. No.
Disclaimer. Yeah, I suppose it's trying to find that
some hope in some
way. And
whatever
that kind of catharsis, no matter.
Catharsis, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, Kathy, what would your response be? That what do you want people to feel when they're finished, like literally the moment they're finished watching the film?
Well, I think it's the same thing. It's a sense of home and a sense of community, and what makes you feel like you belong someplace. What makes you feel like this is where my place is comfortable, and what would you do to keep that? Because I see it a lot. We saw it with the people who inspired this were being evicted from their home, and they fought to stay. And so that was sort of the inspiration of it. Like, and what does that mean when you really feel like you want to stay in a place, and then you get to? So, so hopeful, and proud of yourself that you stood up, even if it doesn't work out. It didn't work out for them, but it was something better for them. But anyway.
Definitely.
JP. Yeah, and I would just say that overall, to me, films are like a piece of music, so that you don't really ever know exactly what it's going to inspire in the people who view it. You just hope that they find something in their own lives that they can truly identify with. Just like, I look at it the same way. If I'm watching a film or listening to a piece of music and it resonates somehow with me personally in some area, clearly there's a theme here, but there may be other things that resonate for other people in different ways. And you're just hoping somebody finds some kind of truth in it, you hope, and it resonates for them, it means something to them. And you never know what it's going to be.
So true. And Erin, what would you want people to walk out feeling?
I'm going to answer with something different, which is I'm going to sort of steal something that my partner said after we watched it together, which felt right to me about what it is, that it is like this nature documentary about the park, and we three are just more creatures in the park, like trying to survive, like living these lives. And it like contextualizes us all as like a part of that. And I think that it was not my original thought, but I was like, that's totally what it is. So I'm stealing it.
That's great.
That's good.
It's like the ecology of a space is not just what's physically in it, but what kind of moves through it, and
what sort of predatory animal that comes in and eats all of the vegetation.
Oh,
But like,
well,
what has Chris's like character had to do? Like, what has she given up to become that person? And like, you know, what kind of survivor is she as well?
definitely. And Alison.
Um, especially now, I feel like everything is so polarized, and there's black and there's white, and there's right and there's wrong. And I think the thing that some people may feel is like, welcome to the gray, you know, like living in the gray and all, and giving color to that gray in a way, right? So there's a lot of complexity there. And feeling, I also hope that in some ways it's like a feeling of protection for San Francisco, that even if they're not from here, but you can feel it like pulling that out, like this is San Francisco. I don't know, just something like a
I would add to that too, that during the pandemic, there's just to see the park and like see it in the normal state, because we filmed it all right before the pandemic.
Right. Okay.
Just, we finished literally like a month before the pandemic really hit. You just hope that it just kind of calls us back to like what, you know, the things that we can share and have in life to get us through this. Yeah, the simple things that we can just get through this difficult period of time.
Simple beauty.
Definitely. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I've never been to San Francisco, but the lure of this kind of like being a love letter and just that kind of like really strong stance is so evidently clear in it. And I think it makes you, as you were saying, JP, you kind of self-identify and put it into your own kind of circumstance. And, you know, I live in a much smaller country compared to you guys. But I live in a small village, so you know I can see the sky. I don't have to walk that far to see green on the floor. I can walk through fields. But it made me kind of really hanker for that fact that there is a collective space that people do appreciate, that environmental part to it, that there is a space that people don't destroy, that they don't kind of like, it's kept in its own ecology. It's not impinged on, it's not built on. It is a space that is there for all of us to enjoy, but also that it's never going to go anywhere because it's protected. Whereas,
well, I hope you get to come to San Francisco and see it.
Want to
It really
come?
is kind of what you're describing.
Yeah, I want to have a
You're
location.
gonna email us.
Yeah. I want you to take me to all the locations. So and lastly, because it's been brilliant talking to you, I really do love doing these Q&As, but I have to stop waffling at some point, I'm afraid. But lastly, where can people find you if they want to keep track of the film, but also you as individual creatives? I always think it's nice if people want to follow up and kind of get in touch. So where are you on socials? Have you got websites, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever?
Oh, Aaron's got something I can see.
I'm trying to remember what it is.
I have a Facebook page.
Fantastic.
I'm like aging myself right now. I mean, I think I'm on Instagram, but I always get locked out of my password. So my 2021 COVID goals is to update my Instagram more. I'm on Facebook and that's it. And IMDb is where you see the next film. I'm terrible.
Excellent. How about everyone else?
I have a website, erinmstewart.com. That's probably the best. I'm sort of avoiding the social medias.
I don't blame you. Kim, how about you?
Oh, just Facebook and Instagram.
Instagram. I kind of feel like Instagram's where it is. It's more visual. It's more easier to take in. Less arguments, perhaps.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
Less delete.
Yeah. block. And Kathy and JP, do you have kind of socials for the film or for the trilogy? You know, where can we find you?
Our company is called Coffee and Language, and we've got coffeeandlanguage.com. This is our 10th independent feature film, so we've got a lot on there that you can, if you have any interest. There it is.
It's fantastic. And I do love the name of your company, by the way. I think it's brilliant. Two of my favorite things. So Thank you so much to all of you. It's been a real pleasure talking to you about
You, Kate.
Girl in the Golden Gate Park and all of your creative processes that kind of culminated in what we saw. And I wish you all the best for the rest of the circuit journey. And with any other projects that you've got going on. And thank you so much, everyone who watched the film and watched this Q&A to find out a bit more. Please do check out as many films as you can at the festival and keep on supporting indie film, please.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you,
What a
Katie.
treat.
And thanks
Thank
to
you
the
so much.
Independent Film Festival.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.